Boynton Beach Community Redevelopment Agency Board is now called to order. Let's proceed with the invocation led by myself and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Board Member Kelly. If everyone could rise and bow their heads. Father, we come before you today with gratitude and for the opportunity to serve. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, clarity in our discussions, and integrity in our actions. Help us to lead with humility, listen with attention, and act in the best interests of those we serve. Guide this meeting with purpose and grace, and let our work today reflect diligence, fairness, and respect. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Let me turn to our minute specialist, Catherine Sherry. If you could please begin the roll call.
Board Chair Rebecca Shelton. Vice Chair Thomas Turkin.
Present.
Board Member Angela Cruz.
Present.
Board Member Mac McCray.
Here.
Board Member Amy Kelly.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we're now moving on to additions, deletions, and corrections to the agenda. Do I have any of those, starting on my left with Commissioner McCray?
Yes, I'd like to pull on the consent agenda, item M.
Item M, okay, I'll just say when we get to section 11, if you just want to reference that, we'll pull it then.
Thank you. No
Do you have anything else?
That's it.
All right, Commissioner Kelly, Board Member Kelly.
No, thank you, Vice Chair.
Board Member Cruz.
None for me, thank you.
Okay, I do have a few things. One, I was asked by legal to move up 15B to after public audience. After pulled consent agenda items, if there's appetite and allowance for that. And then the other thing I wanted to add is a brief discussion about the CRA's investment policy. Doesn't need to be lengthy, but what I'm looking for is consensus to move forward, to have something drafted or re-looked at from what it is in its current state.
Vice Chair, I think that will have something to do with M as well, because it says request authorization to open a money market, and my discussion will be, the procedure for opening a money market.
I can add that to that. I'll save the
together.
conversation for that. Perfect. Nothing further? I'm sorry, go ahead, Board Member Kelly.
Vice Chair, I was just going to add, I was actually considering asking to table that item just so that we could have more discussion with staff, but I'm happy to have that as a discussion item as opposed to making any firm decisions, because I think that, I think there's some conversations that I know I would like to have with CRA staff and city staff with regard to that and our options. So I think I personally need further discussion on that item. So whichever, if we want to do it just as a discussion item, I'm fine with that. But my position was going to be to table that, but I'm good either way.
Yeah, I think we can have a holistic conversation when we get to that point, and then maybe decide after that dialogue. Board Member Cruz, nothing? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Motion's by Commissioner Mac McCray, or Board Member Mac McCray. Second is by Board Member Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motions have it. All right, let's see here. Legal. Catherine, sorry, I keep looking this way.
I moved between meetings, I apologize. Good evening, Catherine Rossmel, Lewis, Longman, and Walker. Thank you for allowing me to present this item. This is just a minor update on some bills of significance that passed in the 2026 legislative regular session. As I'm sure you all are aware, there's a special session that's been called for April 20th. While the CRA does not retain a formal lobbyist, we will continue to monitor and update you all on things of significance. So there were 4 bills this year that are probably most relevant to the CRA. The first one is HB 145. That bill raises the sovereign immunity caps from $200,000 to $350,000 per claim or judgment by one person, and $500,000 for claims arising out of the same incident or occurrence. The second is House Bill 967, which requires units of local government, including CRAs, to update their payment methods to include credit cards, electronic transfer, check cards, debit cards, that kind of thing, allow for those to be taken online, and it does allow the local governments, including the CRA, to charge an appropriate service fee to cover the costs of that transaction. It's the committee substitute for House Bill 1389, amends the Live Local Act. This is really more of a city question, but I do bring it to the attention of the CRA simply because it relates to affordable housing, which is in our bailiwick. It also may impact projects that come before the CRA or request for funding. I can provide a more fulsome report on that if you like, but I just wanted to draw your attention to it. I'm sure you'll get enough of that on your radar here in the near future. And finally, SB 572 is a change in the ethics policies for public employees. It expands the definition of relative to include foster parents and foster children, and it removes certain restrictions on relatives serving together on public boards, and allowing for promotion and placement of certain positions. So those are really the ones that are most relevant to the CRA. The property taxation issues that are likely to come up in the special session will be very relevant to the CRA, so we will keep you updated on those. I am not requesting any action from you at this time, but of course I'm happy to answer any questions or take any direction you may have.
Thank you, Catherine. Board Member Kelly.
Vice Chair, thank you. Catherine, real quick, on House Bill 1389, as it pertains to Live Local Act, we haven't had it come up in the CRA necessarily, but I wanted to get, it doesn't have to be tonight, maybe a report back on what, because we do have developers come to us for TIF and other incentives, how does Live Local interact with that? So if I can get some sort of report back, and I'm sure my colleagues would appreciate that too, but just how it's changed, because there have been changes as it pertains to that, and how it does affect our ability, so that when we're looking at, TIF applications and considerations, that it's well thought of as opposed to, because they get incentives for being a Live Local project too. So I would like to see how that interacts as far as the bill is concerned.
Sure. So the bill this year expanded the types of projects that are may take advantage of Live Local. A significant one potentially for the CRA is it did expand it to include religious properties, so that a certain amount of affordable housing can be put on a religious property. It also mandates that the city adopt an ordinance. Again, it's a city issue, but it might impact the CRA, allowing accessory dwelling units. In terms of interaction with your TIF policy, your program is not a by right program. It is at the discretion of the board. There are a number of criteria that you all consider for every agreement, but not a single one of those criteria is mandatory. So it is still a piece-by-piece basis for you all to come and consider every proposal and whether it would be in furtherance of your 2016 redevelopment plan. So there's nothing in Live Local that would constrain or require your actions with regard to TIF. Other than that, it may incentivize projects in the CRA area that otherwise would not have occurred.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Anyone else?
Good.
Board Member Cruz, good. All right, thank you. Let's now begin informational items and disclosures by board members and CRA staff. We'll begin on my left, Board Member McCray.
Thank you, Chair. I spoke with Jeff Burns by phone yesterday, and on my one-on-one at my pre-agenda meeting for the CRA, I had a meeting with Mr. Timothy Tate. And I want to say publicly, having been away for a while, I want to say, sir, thank you for being so abreast and so knowledgeable of what was happening in the CRA. When I had questions, you didn't stumble. You answered them right to the point. You showed me what I needed to see, and I want to say thank you. You got a wealth of knowledge that people are overlooking. Thank you.
Board Member Kelly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. My only disclosure is I did have an opportunity to speak to Jeff Burns, but that item is not on the agenda, although there is an update that is in informational items only. But just for the record, I did have a conversation with him.
Board Member Cruz.
I received a call a while ago from Mr. Rojo, but I don't believe it's anything related to this agenda. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
As for myself, I have nothing per this agenda. Okay, information only. Are there any information only items my colleagues would like to discuss from the list? No?
No,
Seeing
Vice
no?
Chair.
Okay. Do we have any announcements or awards? I don't see anything on the agenda. Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move to public comment. The public comment section of this meeting is for public comment on all items on the agenda or items that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment on all items on the agenda. However, the board retains the right to increase or decrease the 3-minute limit prior to the start of public comment. Each public speaker shall be given the same number of minutes unless it becomes necessary to terminate a speaker's comments in order to maintain orderly conduct and proper decorum in the public meeting. Persons making public comment may not assign or donate their public comment time to another individual to allow that other individual time to comment. However, any persons requiring assistance will be accommodated as required by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Prior to addressing the board, speakers present at the meeting will go to the podium to make their comments, and speakers participating virtually will unmute their device at the time requested. Speakers may be asked to state their name and address for the record. Any person may provide written comments to the board prior to the board meeting. I'm going to ask anyone who has public comment to come and line up on this side and line up on this side. And then we're going to move online. Come on up.
Feel very lonely here. Good evening. Just want to make a quick comment.
Respectfully, sir, if you could please state your
I'm
name
sorry,
and
Harry
address for the
Woodworth,
record.
Boynton Beach, Florida. The situation is unfortunate. Perhaps an opportunity will come out of this. There was once upon a time a CRA board that consisted of some citizens. That was probably the last time the community felt they had any contact, effective contact with the CRA. It's unfortunate that that went away. We set up the community board. I think every member that's been on that CRA board would tell you it's all but useless. Everybody, if you should talk to them. If you can find somebody that thinks they get something done on that, it's a miracle. I would ask that maybe as you look at this with a clean sheet of paper in front of you, learning from the past, that might be something to look at again. The other thing I would ask, and CRAs all over the state are doing the same thing we're doing, the statutes on the CRA are pretty clear. We're on the edge of so many of them, it's unbelievable. I think it might be appropriate to have an outside audit done of the CRA finances, so when you start with a clean sheet of paper organizationally, you can do the same thing financially, maybe clean the table of some of this stuff that's extremely questionable. Just my comment on that. Thank you.
Commissioner Hay, please.
Woodrow Hay. Harry took all my thunder, but I just wanted to echo that I think we should give a little bit more clarity to the audience when things happen like this. I know there's a legal procedure, but a lot of us are sitting out here with question marks in our heads on wondering what's happening. I didn't really go along with Chris in the first place, and I'll be the first one to say that. But I don't quite understand what happened. I was going to talk about the hybrid, going back to that so that the citizens could have input. I just feel that Dan, I don't have no, he's come a long way, and I'm sure he'll be able to handle it. But we do have a lot of projects going on in Boynton Beach now, and he has his hand full with the city. And for him to try to take on the CRA also, I think that's a bit much. So when you have your workshop or whatever you're going to do about this, please take these things in consideration, okay? Because Commissioner McCray, you just mentioned how wonderful Tim Tack did his job. So the logical thing in my mind is, why not give him back this job, okay, until we can find a permanent one, since he did such a great job in the first place. And I don't know the ins and outs of that, but it's a thought that entered my head. Tim did the same thing for me, very knowledgeable, on top of things, responded back, and this is the type of person, not that Dan won't do that, but I just think we don't need to overburden Dan with both CRA and running the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sarah Smith. I'm here on behalf of the Economic Development Grant Programs. I'm a Palm Beach resident, a mom of 2 young kids, and a first-time business owner preparing to open Go Glow Boynton Beach, which is a modern premium sunless tanning studio focused on confidence, wellness, luxury skincare, and community. What makes this especially meaningful is that Boynton Beach will be the first Go Glow location in the state of Florida, bringing a proven, nationally successful concept to the local market here. My goal is to introduce something elevated and in demand while ensuring that it feels deeply rooted and reflective in the Boynton Beach community. This project directly aligns with the city's goals for redevelopment. We are taking on a Generation 1 retail space that sat empty for years at a busy intersection of Woolbright and Federal, and it requires a significant build-out, including an HVAC unit, plumbing for a bathroom, as well as an electrical panel, transforming it into a clean, high-end, service-based business that will increase foot traffic, complement neighboring businesses, and contribute to the overall vibrancy of the area. From day one, we will be creating local jobs with plans to hire and train a team from within the community. Beyond that, Go Glow is a business that naturally supports its surrounding businesses, whether it's salons, fitness studios, bridal vendors, photographers, or local events. It's not just a standalone storefront, but it's a broader ecosystem of small businesses that grow together when they're stronger together. The reality is that the biggest barrier to entry at this stage is the upfront investment, construction costs, build out, and the initial rent period before opening. The grant funding for construction and rent reimbursement will allow me to open faster, hire sooner, and invest more into local partnerships and marketing, ultimately accelerating the economic return back into the city of Boynton Beach. On a personal level, this is more about opening a business. I'm a mom and a female entrepreneur. I'm building something that represents stability, growth, and opportunity for my family and for others in this community. I want my children to grow up seeing that you can build something meaningful right here, and success can mean giving back to the place that you call home. This grant is not just an investment in business, it's an investment in a locally owned, women-led venture that is committed to long-term success, job creation, and being an active, positive presence in the city of Boynton Beach. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I want to thank you guys for your support, and I'm confident that we can create something that adds real value to this community. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Susan Oyer, Boynton Beach. So as we're moving forward with CRA in whatever format it ends up taking, I agree that we need to go back to having citizen input on the board, and that was a great way that this worked for our city for years, and maybe we should go back to doing that. I think you should also be looking at the lobbyist. Is our lobbyist doing a good job? Because we listen to the city report, we listen to the CRA report on what's going on. I don't recall ever hearing anything as a positive win coming out of this lobbyist that we're spending all this money on. I assume there are other lobbyists for Tallahassee, and maybe we should be looking at them, because we don't seem to be getting much bang for our buck out of this one, and especially not when it comes to Live Local or anything else that makes us all crazy. I would also say I'm quite disappointed to see that RMA has left. Not that I don't love Dan, but I thought Chris Brown brought an excellent voice to this city, and I'm sad to see that happened because I personally was lobbying very hard for him because I thought they were going to bring great things to our city. As we look forward, and you all are such a promoter of and the force behind making a lot of things happen in this city, yay. I don't know if you guys saw the report that came out in the last week. We are down almost half as many people moving to Florida as post-COVID, during COVID era. So why are we building all of this if we have half as many people coming and there are truly homes sitting on the market for 6 months to a year or longer? And I'm a realtor, the mayor's a realtor, the vice mayor's a realtor. We all see the same stats and the same numbers. We do not need to be building more apartments or homes. We just don't need it because we're getting half as many people in, and every time they talk about the cost of insurance, and let's face it, we pay 4 insurances to live here in South Florida, because whether you need flood or not, you should have it, because 90% of all claims come from, oh boy, something that was not in a flood zone. So we have 4 insurances here, and we are the most expensive place in the country to live. People are not moving here, and we see that. So unless you're a billionaire moving in, the average person's not moving in. So as we move forward and you all are looking to rehab, maybe you should be thinking about putting businesses in, and we should be doing industrial and stop really truly think twice about putting any more homes in, and not, I'm not talking single-family homes, I'm talking apartments, because there's just no need for them. We don't have those people coming in. The stats are out. There's just slightly over half as many people moving here as were moving here just a couple years ago. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hoyer. Ms. Rowe, please.
Hello, everyone. Elizabeth Pierce Rowe, 637 Oak Street. I lived on Oak Street for 28 years. And I just wanted to find out some information. You might not be able to give it to me in reference to what's going on at the property that was purchased at the end of Oak Street. I was just hoping that if and when they put up some sort of a fencing, that it's more of a permanent type of fencing and that we don't have like the blue fencing that blows every time a storm comes through. One of the things that I did ask when they were putting in the park, that there is no entrance that goes to Oak Street down to wherever is going to be built at the end of the street. But there'd be a nice wall that goes across with an entrance similar to like what they did at Harbor Hall, at the old Lenotes, they're shooters, where they gave an access where they were able to actually go into Intercoastal Park and have that freedom, because we do use the park a lot. Also, I just wanted to say the same as Susan and everybody else that you know here. I'd really like, and I've been asking for years, to really see a hotel, a real hotel come into Boynton. We have so much construction going on. We had a Ramada Inn and it disappeared. We had the other ones and they just didn't work out. I have 18 listings right now just in Boynton Beach. I have houses, I have townhouses, I have rental properties. Everybody's looking at me going, what is going on right now? I did beautifully the last few years. And I just hope that, we work for more industrial and a hotel. We need to have something. If I want to go see something, I go down to Del Rey because I can stay overnight there with our friends and have a nice dinner, or I go up to West Palm Beach where we can stay in a hotel, have a nice dinner. And I wish that we could bring that back to Boynton. But thank you very much.
Mr. Katz, please.
David Katz. It would be the worst idea in the world to have civilian members on the CRA board. First of all, those 2 people don't answer to the voters. They make economic decisions which involve millions of dollars, and if it's a wrong one, they don't answer to the voters. At one time, what is known as the Bank of America site, which is now Hyperion, the 2 civilian members of the board at that time voted down what would have been a 6-story office building, not apartments, an office building. They did it by voting down a $1 million TIF request by the attorneys that wanted to build that building and bring in about 300 employees. Not people living here, creating traffic problems, but a building, a real commercial property. And if you want, I'll be more than happy to tell you who those were. And they were Buck Buchanan and Mark Harrogeorge. The worst decision that was ever been made concerning the Bank of America site. So that would be a terrible thing to do. The other meeting, I'd like to correct Board Member Cruz. She mentioned that it's been 100 years that we've had a CRA director. Well, I served on the commission about 35 years ago. We had a CRA, which was the city commission at the time, had a budget of about 150,000. We didn't have a CRA director, not at all. We had an economic development person who kind of handled that. But there's never been a CRA director in this city for the past 100 years. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hay, please.
Good evening. My name is Mildred Hay. I'm a citizen here in Boynton Beach since 1970. I came up here the last month to the meeting to thank everybody in the CRA board, and I overlooked the staff. How could I have done that? They are so very relevant. And maybe I was supposed to wait for this occasion. Tim and your staff, I want to thank you for the work and the service that you have put in. You're very professional. You are very informed on how to run a CRA. I really, really, really appreciate that. I appreciate all the help that you were able to provide my husband while he was here, and the rest of the board as well. Because I've been here so much, I kind of know all of you, and I really do appreciate your efforts. I know that you work extra hard behind the scenes, and you care about what you're doing. And I really think that's admirable to care about this city here in Boynton. I live here, have lived here for, since, as I said, since 1970. And I have always had an interest in my household. Of course, you know Woodrow has. But I want to thank you for your work, for your sincerity, and to know that there are those, that a lot of us, that really care, and thank you for your services all of this time. God bless you. Don't be disheartened by anything that happens. The Lord is in charge of this world. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, do we have anyone online? Board Member Kelly?
No, Vice Chair, we have no one online.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to consent agenda, section 11. Do I have anything besides 11M that wants to be pulled from consent agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the remainder of consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion from Board Member Kelly, the second by Board Member McCray. All those in favor to approve consent agenda, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, 11M, Board Member McCray, since you pulled it, do you want to go ahead and take the lead on this one?
Thank you, sir. The reason I want this pull is because just like some people feel like it should be tabled, but right now I don't think it needs to be tabled, but it needs to be put out on the forefront. That is, before we start putting citizens' money, because we have the fiduciary responsibility for money market accounts and for the citizens' money. I think we need to look at money market accounts, get somebody to come in who really know about money market accounts if this is the way that we are going. And if you check the records from the CRA, we had things in place previous, because I remember some of those things. And I'm just saying, Tim, if you could probably pull some of those things that happened before you and Ms. Hill and share that with the boards that's sitting up here. It will put an inlight on, why some things happen with the money market account while we got out of it. But you have to be very, very careful when you start investing money on a rocky road like we're on right now. I know people saying that, but things are going to get better. But until they get better, we are still responsible, for how we make money to do things that we need to do. I'm just saying, and I appreciate you for bringing me back to some of those things that we had already in place. And like Board Member Kelly said, she felt like this should really be tabled. I really feel like it should be tabled as well until we get things in place saying this is what we did year, but this is how we wound up where we're here before we start, pointing blame at anybody saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's not going to happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Board Member McCray. Board Member Kelly, do you have anything?
No, I want to have further conversations about what our options are. I think that it's important. I think that just as much as it's our duty to be fiscally responsible, I think it's also our duty to make sure that we're making the most out of our money. And so if there are opportunities, I know we've done this in our other hats that we wear, to make the most out of our, out of the taxpayer dollars. I think we owe that to ourselves and also the residents that we're being fiscally responsible. And if that means that there are avenues out there where we can safely invest, so that, you know, when we have money that's sitting, waiting for, you know, that's sitting budgeted for an item, that we're being fiscally responsible and that we're, you know, that we're, because if it grows, if it's invested and it's growing, then that means that there's more funds available for us to then invest back into the community. And so I think that as long as we do it safely and it's protected and we're being smart about it, I think that we should look at what our options are for investing what's just otherwise sitting in a bank account. So that's my position on that. So, but I do have some more conversations to be had as far as what our options are. But I think our policy already allows us to do that. We just haven't done it. So that's my position on that. That I would like to see what our options are on that.
Thank you, Board Member Kelly. Board
Thank you.
Member Cruz, do you have anything?
I would like more information. Thank you.
Perfect. I do have a couple things on this. I think we need to do an overview of the investing policy. From what I saw, I think it was rewritten or reviewed in 2018. Seems like it needs to be reviewed a little bit more. I know that the least dependent variable was that interest. I think that's something that we should look at. It is not uncommon for municipals and other taxing districts to invest taxpayer dollars to then utilize those funds to increase. So for example, if you have $30 million sitting in an account that is not interest bearing, you know, in a lower risk market, you can get anywhere from, I think today is between 3 to 3.6 from some of these markets with Florida statute. You could lose a tremendous amount of money. And so that's why I think it is the board's, you know, responsibility to look at these things and not assume. I assumed that it was, and, you know, that's on me for not, you know, double checking. And so my position is that, you know, we ask the executive director to review the policy, look at what maybe other CRAs are doing. I know the city, we do this, and, you know, we are able to generate quite a bit of interest. And looking at these low risk, you know, markets, you know, and there's a lot of regulation that CRAs have to follow, you know, per Florida state statute. However, by not doing that, we're not being fiduciaries responsible for tax dollars. We're not doing the best. So when someone says, hey, I can't pave this road, or can we get this road paved? And we say, well, we don't have the funds for it. But you know what? Had we invested in a money market, you know, we would have, you know, $3 or $4 million, you know, over the last 3 to 4 years. And so those are things that we need to critically think about, you know, because ultimately this relies on us. And so it relies on us to be accountable for ourselves, to ensure that we direct staff to look at, you know, getting the best return on investment. And I understand there's a lot of, you know, worry. You know, there's different markets for different times of economic times. You know, that's my 2 cents. And so if I have consensus, I would like to have something come back for us.
First of all, I appreciate the confidence the board has in me to appoint me to this position. I can tell you that I fully intend to do an assessment of the finances, and I know the fund in question was $30 million that was apparently in a non-interest bearing account. I have one version. I need to meet with staff, specifically with the finance director, Vicki Hill, and also Tim Tack. And we're going to sit down, look at what exactly occurred. And what I want to do is, if the board would allow, I want to take about 30 days and actually have a report for each board member. And you guys will get a thorough understanding of exactly what happened and what my recommended changes would be. I can tell you on the city side, when I came in almost 4 years ago now, we've lowered the millage rate multiple times. We've increased the fund balance. And with that being said, we've also increased the alpha return that we've been able to get on the passive income from our principal investments. And with that being said, I have to see what the overall expenditures and the outflows of this specific fund is, because sometimes you can get yields in the vicinity between 5% and 6%, especially if those funds are staying static and you're not using them for accounts payable, for payroll, for vendor payouts and things of that nature. So I want to take about a month time frame to look at it, and then I'll have a report ready for you guys.
Yeah, I would like a full financial analysis, maybe outside of just the investment, would be something I would propose, looking at the full financial analysis of the CRA. I asked a question earlier about a budget item regarding, an HR firm. I would like to get a little bit more detailed in the operations budget as well. So I'd like a full financial analysis in addition to the investment. And from the research I've done, I think the CRA may be a little bit different. But again, I'll allow you to work with the legal team if there's consensus to come back to something with your report and, propose what is the most economically feasible thing, for these tax dollars.
These are going to be preliminary reports, and if you guys want to go in depth, I think it's going to be prudent upon the board. If you want a true forensic accounting expert to come in and do a complete audit, then we'd have to look at hiring an outside firm to come in and do that complete analysis.
Thank you, and we'll address that when the time comes. Board Member McCray.
Thank you. In regards to a forensic audit, I'm just saying, sometimes you get eyes from another entity or another agency to come in and look. I'm just saying, for the city goes in and look at the CRA, and you will pick up on things that they might have missed and everything, but I'm just saying we're not pointing the fingers. Until we get that complete analysis, I'm going to offer a motion that we table this until we get a complete analysis that come back to this board, where we can make an educated decision about what we're going to do when it comes to the finances of this CRA.
Perfect. Second. Okay, we have, and we have consensus before we move forward with the motion. We have consensus for the financial analysis? Yes. Okay, thank you. We have a motion. We have a second.
I wanted to make a comment.
Okay.
With regard to the financial analysis, I wanted to make sure that we include historical data with regard to not only this CRA, but other CRAs in the state of Florida, and what the outcome has been for those investments, the level of risk of those investments, and the potential, whether it's positive or negative consequences that has happened to that governmental body for making those decisions. I just want to make sure that we are educating ourselves in all ways and understanding the level of risk. Is it something that protects principal and earns a small percentage, or is it something that completely adds risk to the entirety of the principal? I would like to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, I imagine that the executive director will do that. It's pretty elementary. Yeah. I think that's the standard. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
If I may, point of
Yes.
order, I apologize. If you're going to table it, I'll need a date certain. Otherwise, you can take no action, and we'll simply bring it back when there's
Next
something
May
to do.
meeting?
I'll say, okay, is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
said a month, so
said
the
a
May
month.
meeting? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. All right. Okay, CRA Advisory Board.
Vice Chair, I think you moved
Oh,
up
I'm sorry,
15B.
yes, thank you. Thank you, Board Member Kelly. So what happens when I go?
Grace.
All right, 15B, can I have staff introduce this item?
All right, good evening. Good evening, Board. Assistant Director Timothy Tack. Staff is looking forward to moving forward with issuing a request for qualifications for professional services on a continuing contract with a civil engineering firm and a landscape architectural firm, a architectural firm, as well as marine engineering, surveying, as well as geotechnical. Representative from Lewis Longman Walker's here to discuss some of the technical parts of that, if you want to
Excuse me, you
discuss
know
it.
where to pull your mic over where you're talking. I'm just saying it.
Is that better?
Yes.
There we go. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you, Tim. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, Janice Rustin, Lewis Longman Walker. I work with many of our government clients on procurement issues like this one. I've been working with staff recently on developing a request for qualifications for professional services. This particular service is highly regulated by Florida statutes. The process is outlined in the statute that a request for qualifications is issued, and the the proposers are evaluated on their qualifications, solely on their qualifications, not for price. So typically how it works is the evaluation committee will rank the proposers based on a certain set of criteria. I think we have them outlined here. Then the organization will then negotiate with the top-ranked firm based on price. After that, if they can't come to an agreement with the price on the top-ranked firm, they'll move to the second-ranked firm or the third-ranked firm if they can't come to an agreement. While working through this with staff, we evaluated, the services that may be required. Another thing under Florida law is they do allow for a continuing contract. It's essentially like a pool of vendors who will work with you, and you can have on staff, so you don't have to do a procurement for each and every project that you do. It's a work order-based contract. So we worked with looking at some of the projects that were coming down the pike, and that staff felt that there would be professional services that would be needed. So there are a few things that I wanted to point out of this particular RFQ. With staff's direction, it was drafted so that the executive director would appoint the selection committee. I know typically this particular board likes to act as the selection committee on certain procurements. However, in this case, this was it's a very technical or specific evaluation criteria. So the evaluation of it, typically you'd want an engineer, an architect, or somebody who could, evaluate the technical criteria of the responses. So in this particular, the RFQ as drafted has the executive director appointing the selection committee, and then also to be comprised of city and/or CRA staff members plus anybody else. Secondly, it was the executive director who would be negotiating with the top-ranked firm. So I just wanted to point that out. That was different from the typical process that I knew that usually followed here. Was the recommendation of staff to use this for this specific qualification. So those are two business terms really that this board, we need direction from this board to confirm that yes, that's the procedure that you want to follow with staff or the executive director appointing the selection committee, and then the executive director doing the negotiations with the top-ranked firm. So those are two questions before the board right now. If there are any responses or thoughts on those particular issues?
Perfect. Thank you, Jazz. You look like you were about to say something, no?
I was waiting.
Do I have anything from my colleagues? Board Member Kelly?
Thank you. Because this is not expected to deadline until June, I just wonder, we're in like an uncertainty where we're not really sure what decisions we'll be making in the next 60 days. Do we have a secondary vice chair or staff? Because, we're in this, if the deadline for staff to review is in June and to be negotiating, I don't want it to necessarily be a new person if we have a new, depending on what we're doing. So
Are you suggesting that maybe we can table this?
Or change,
change the
I would
date?
be willing to do that, but maybe do we do executive director or city manager? I just don't want there to be like this ambiguity that we have the executive director negotiating, but if we've gone through any sort of transition or changes and it's not Dan or Tim, then where are we? And I don't want it to just be some random person. So I'm just wondering how, because we're in this weird transition, if we put, I don't know what, that's kind of my hesitation, is because we're in this weird position right now.
Just so that you're aware, with the RFQ, the prices are the prices. We don't necessarily look at the qualification. We're looking at qualifications, not price. So when we come back with these individual projects as they come on board, then we'll be negotiating the hours and not the prospective prices.
Okay.
So really what we're looking for is, that consultant, we want to
can
do
add 'em to
business
the
with them.
list. Got it.
Right.
Okay, well, that clarifies that. Thank you.
And if I may,
Yes.
it can be revised. Right now, the way it's drafted is that the selection committee ranks and then the executive director negotiates. This can be revised, and this is what happens a lot, is the proposers are ranked, the ranking then is approved by this board, and then the board directs staff to negotiate. So that would give you a little bit of extra time to know who's in the seat to be negotiating the prices. So, it can be arranged, revised to have that happen.
Okay,
I think that's
thank you, I'm
viable.
comfortable with that, yeah.
I have a question.
Board Member McCray.
Thank you. I guess you're representing a company, a firm, or something like that. I'm just saying, do you work with other CRAs?
I work with Catherine at Lewis, Longman Walker, and my specialty is
She's
in.
part of our CRA council
Yeah.
with the firm.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah. My specialty is procurement, so that's why I was brought in to do this particular
I just want to make sure you had some
thing.
background.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I work with a
Else?
number of governmental
learning, everybody.
entities
You're good.
All good.
with a specific thing. Sorry, if we're ready to continue, there's another business decision that you all have to make, and it's the evaluation criteria. It's pretty standard, but this, in your agenda memo, there is a summary of the evaluation criteria. We split it up pretty evenly, 25 points for each criteria. If anybody has any thoughts on what should be valued more, or, if they want to weight an evaluation criteria any differently than what it is. Right now, all 4 criteria are weighed equally.
Okay, reviewing this, is there any input from my colleagues? Any changes that you'd like to see to the proposed evaluation criteria?
No.
Seeing none? Seems like we have consensus there with what's proposed.
Good, so what I'll do is I can, based on the direction I've had from this board, we can revise so that the final ranking will come to this board, and then this board will direct either the executive director or assign a person from this board to do the negotiations.
Perfect. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the RFQ for continuing professional services and issue,
Motion to,
subject to final legal review?
yes, motion to approve the RFQ for continuing professional services and issue subject to final CRA legal review.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Board Member Kelly, a second from Board Member Cruz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to the CRA Advisory Board update. Staff, can you present this item?
Absolutely. So at the last meeting, they discussed the elements of a splash pad as well as the long-term land acquisition plan, and we'll be bringing back ideas in regards to the long-term plan, and we'll be looking at finalizing the Heisman candidate recognition as well.
Awesome.
Awesome. Is there any input from my colleagues? No, I think there's a lot of good work being done. It's very progressive, and we're seeing a lot of results from the advisory board this year, at least. So
I
thank
agree.
you for all for serving. You serve on that board. All right, moving on to old business. 14A, discussion and consideration of the FY 25-26 business development promotions. Thank you, Mercedes.
Good evening, Board. I'm Mercedes Coppin, Business Development Manager. So as a follow-up to the February 10th board meeting, Legal had presented a memo that provided a risk analysis of our CRA promotions. The holiday boat parade, snapshots with Santa, night market, and the spring market were all flagged as high risk, primarily because of their connection to holiday themes, and also because of the growth and public visibility of the two markets. Following that meeting, city and CRA staff did meet to discuss how the city could potentially assume responsibility for some of the events. However, it was determined that there's no funding available this year for the city to assume any of those events. So we are looking for direction on how to proceed.
My position, if I may, is that obviously we were going to discuss this in a joint session, so I would ask that we probably postpone that conversation to next week if my colleagues think that's okay.
Yeah, we're just talking about it at the next meeting, right?
Next week,
Yeah,
yes.
because I don't want to delay having the conversation, especially since the night market is on the chopping block, so.
I
So,
just
yeah,
want to
I'd like
impress
to-
upon you the planning part of this event is very intensive, and the sooner we know, the better it is, so that staff can proceed with what they need to do.
Will a 1 week delay affect that?
It will affect the plaza that we have scheduled for May. So if you wanted us to proceed with that, we would need to know as soon as possible, as we need to start advertising that event to ensure that we have, the attendance there. But for the night market, 1 week won't affect that one.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is the low-risk ones, those were kind of advised that we could move forward with those low-risk ones, especially since it's more.
1 second. Go ahead.
More business-driven, those Rock the Plazas. So, my position would be that kind of, except for the really high-risk ones, that for the most part, we move status quo until further notice would be my thought, unless it's a high-risk event, that we can move forward with the Rock the Plazas because they're low on the spectrum.
I just want to provide some clarity, and I spoke with Chris, and we were in the meeting, Mercedes. It was my understanding that we were going to proceed with this fiscal year to include Rock the Plaza in May, and these decisions were going to be for the following fiscal year.
That's what you said. I think
Yeah.
there was conversation about the events at our last CRA meeting where we were maybe looking at not doing it. My position was to not do it. However, I will say that was a great analysis that you provided in the backup. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
And I really suggest that you take a look at it.
I've looked at it. It is great.
And I think it's very telling as far as,
was cost
what
benefit.
is,
Cost, yeah.
yes, cost per person, is it an economic driver? Is it making an impact, right? And so, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think the plazas were they at the higher end? They're the lower end for the cost per person? Or you got it here?
I did provide a printout.
There should be a printout on the dais here for you all.
$17 a person, kind of.
There should be a breakdown by
No,
total
the boat
budget.
parade came out number one.
Right.
$5.99.
Of course, 'cause
Oh, here it is. So the Rock the Block Rock the Plaza. There's this one, this is the
Ocean
Ocean Palm Plaza. So that was $17.09 per person with attendance of 1,100. Seems to be relative to the Rock the Plaza one Boynton. The Rock the Plaza Ocean Plaza is, so the Rock the Block, the one in December, I guess, that we do, that's the most bang for your buck there. I'll allow the board to make that decision. I would like, if we can't wait a week, there we go, thank you.
Well, because it's in May, it's like the first week of May. So if we wait, then we're up against a time crunch. My thought is if it's a low risk and it's truly an economic driver to that plaza, that we can, we can proceed forward until we make other decisions. That would just be my thought on those low risk ones.
Is there any other feedback from the board? Board Member
I'm
Cruz?
okay with continuing with the Rock the Plaza event.
Okay.
Board
Just for
Member McRae?
clarity,
Let's go ahead.
just for clarity, can you please also give direction on Rock the Marina? If that's a possibility for us to continue with that. That was also considered low risk without the Lionfish Derby component. So we could remove that, and that would bring it in line with Rock the Plaza.
Can we give that decision next week?
Yes, of course.
Okay, all right. So I guess we'll move forward with the Rock the Plaza in May, and then for the rest of these events, we'll discuss at the joint meeting next week.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Motion to table the remainder, or we're just,
Do
or do we not?
you want to table this item, Catherine?
These are budgeted items as they exist, so you're not required to make a motion.
Perfect,
Okay.
thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Mercedes.
Okay, moving forward, 14B, discussion and consideration of the revision to Exhibit A to the interlocal agreement between the Boynton Beach CRA and the City of Boynton Beach for funding, construction, and professional services for the demolition of 670 Oak Street.
All right. As you know, we have the master ILA, or interlocal agreement. We come back and revisit Exhibit A as it's needed. Because J.C. Park was design only, we took out the funding for the construction and put that towards the requested demolition of 670 Oak Street. And we also put additional $193,000 towards MLK Streetscape as well. So we just reallocated it. The total amount for Exhibit A stays the same. And this will help us move forward with the assistance of providing the demo. The city will oversee the contract as well as the actual physical demo. And then, we'll reimburse and fund it.
Do I have any questions or comments from my colleagues? Nope.
Motion to approve the revised Exhibit A to the interlocal agreement between the Boynton Beach CRA and the City of Boynton Beach for the interlocal agreement for funding, construction, professional services for funding for the demolition of 670 Oak Street.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Before I call the vote, I would like to note that there was some public comment regarding this parcel. So if you guys could get with the resident about that and hear them out and make sure, we do our best moving forward to create the least amount of impact to those neighboring residents. That being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Moving forward, 15A, discussion and approval of the purchase of property located at 109 Northwest First Avenue. Staff, if you may.
Teresa Utterback
Teresa,
will
thank
introduce this item.
Board, Teresa Utterback, Development Services Manager. This item is brought before you because it is a property. You can't hear me? There we go. It's on the map. It's located behind the current USPS property that we own on Boynton Beach Boulevard and North Seacrest. We also own the adjacent property to the east, and it's just filling in that block. The current owner is satisfied with the appraised value, and we were pretty close, but what we threw in were the closing costs, which really just makes up the dock stamps. So I feel fortunate for the opportunity, but it's up to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa. All right, do I have any questions, comments from my colleagues?
Nope, motion to approve.
Second.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion to approve the purchase of the property located at 109 Northwest First Avenue from Board Member McCray, the second by Board Member Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay, and the ayes have it. Okay, moving forward to
Thanks for all your hard work on that. Negotiating
you.
that. Good job.
15B, discussion and consideration of we already did that one. 15C, discussion and consideration of adoption of fee schedule. If I can have staff present this item.
I will take this one, given
Okay,
recent
thank you.
circumstances. So this item is being brought to the board to establish a formalized fee structure. Right now, the CRA does not generally require fees to process applications or requests. We have looked into it and determined that the CRA is able to charge fees and on a cost recovery basis for certain activities. So the fee schedule before you is to allow the CRA to collect those fees. In the details laid out in the table, you'll see that either the fee is going to be matched by the actual expenses to the CRA and paid on a reimbursement basis, or was based on an analysis of what these requests typically cost the CRA to process and examine. So with your permission, if the CRA adopts this schedule, then that will allow CRA staff to start charging for certain activities when requested of the CRA. So for example, if a party requests that the CRA provide a TIF agreement, that typically will run the CRA a little over $25,000 for all of the time, the economic analysis, the legal fees, appraisals, et cetera. So this would allow cost recovery of that. Similarly, if a special meeting is called to address a concern by a developer, the technology fees, the closed captioning fees, et cetera. So that's what this is for.
Thank you, Catherine. Do I have any input from my colleagues?
Long overdue.
Board Member Kelly?
No, I was just going to ask Catherine, is this, other CRAs, this is customary, we're not just doing this off the cuff, this is something that tracks with other CRAs and other?
So other CRAs do this. It is a mix. Not every CRA does this. Some CRAs do this, and then because CRAs are dependent special districts created as independent little creatures, sometimes they have different fees for different activities that different CRAs do. However, the CRA is empowered to do it through your particular resolution and through the applicable statutes. And again, it's on a cost recovery basis. There is no fee generation anticipated from this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like lately we've been, for TIF requests, we've kind of been asking the developers to pay for that fee. So if we can actually have a policy that, that kind of requires that, if they're asking us for millions of dollars, the least they can do is pay for our time that we take in evaluating that. So I'm fine with this, thank you.
Anything else? No, I think this is a fine policy. I recall a meeting that we had and, last minute, and, for the IT and to conduct this meeting is, I think, roughly just under $5,000 of taxpayer dollars. So if we're going to convene and have IT come and get everyone organized, have staff time, stay late, that needs to be accounted for. So I'm in favor of this, and this would be moving forward. I just want to make sure if there's interest now, communications with the CRA now, that this isn't going to be retroacted.
That is correct. This is not intended to be retroactive.
Okay.
So any
Yes,
LOI
Tim.
that we've received just recently would not be subjected to this.
Fair.
There's one in
Fair.
particular.
That's, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Board Member McRae. Okay, got a second from Board Member Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Moving on to 15D, discussion and consideration of fiscal year 25-26 budget reallocation for the economic development grant programs. Bonnie, thank you.
Good evening, Board. Bonnie Nicklin, Grants and Project Manager. We are currently out of grant funding. I cannot accept any future grant applications for rent, reimbursement, or property improvement. We have a project fund line item for contingency of approximately $225,000. Staff was recommending that $200,000 of that be reallocated to accept future applications. I do have a waiting list, and we're seeking your direction.
Thank you, Bonnie. Do I have any input from my colleagues?
No, thank you. Sorry, Vice
Go
Chair,
ahead,
I didn't
Board
mean to jump
Member
in front
Kelly.
of you. Sorry about that. Thank you, Bonnie. I think that anytime that we can continue to reinvest in our small businesses, we had one speak during public comment about just how valuable or invaluable this grant program is. And so I think anytime we can find a little pocket of funding that needs a task, I think we should look at it. I totally support reallocating these funds to our grant program. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else from my colleagues? No, I will say, Bonnie, this program is amazing. I think it's probably the most impactful subjectively that the CRA does. There was a comment earlier about the residents not feeling that they connect with the CRA. That is egregious to say that, because I know how hard your work and staff works to make sure that these business owners coming in the city, residents know about not just this program, but all programs. So to say that there's no connectivity is just outrageous. So thank you for all the hard work you do.
Thank you for your support.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the budget reallocation of the $200,000 from contingency to project fund for the grant program.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Board Member Kelly, a second from Board Member Cruz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Spend
Bonnie.
it. Spend away, Bonnie.
Responsibly.
Yes, of course.
Okay, that leads us to 15E, approval of subgrant property remediation agreement with the Palm Beach County.
All right.
Through the Brownfields Revolving Loan Fund Program for the CRA-owned property located at 1101 North Federal Highway. Thank you, Tim.
All right, in coordination with Palm Beach County, we had them do a Phase 1 and Phase 2 site assessment of the property located at 1101 North Federal Highway. It is the future site of our gateway feature, which you all approved, which is currently going through the site plan process right now. There is arsenic contamination on site, so the agreement will allow us to utilize funds through the county, and we will be getting grant funding to remediate that site for purposes of future redevelopment, plus it's always nice to have free money. And what they're gonna do is it's about $24,000 to us to actually excavate it and then replace it with clean fill. So you're looking at about probably 40 yards of fill that's gonna be coming out of there. It gets dumped at the landfill, and then it gets clean fill replaced in it. So there's $24,000. The CRA will be on the hook to provide a contractor to do the work. They will be taking care of the rest. So it's about $148,000 worth of grant funding overall for this project.
Perfect, thank you. Do I have any input?
I
Board
have
Member
input.
McCray, yes.
Thank you. I'm glad to see that, we're moving forward with this because District 2, they keep asking questions of me. When will we see this come to fruition? So now I know what the problem was, because I remember when it used to be a cleaners. So I'm glad to know that we're getting this taken care of so that we can bring a lovely thing for that corner to uplift that corner, because I'm just saying, a lot of people say that they would like to go there now just to sit out and, and just relax. Thank you. You answered my question. I could tell District 2 is coming soon.
Yeah, they can enjoy the mural that we
Yes,
all jumped in and helped paint. That was fun. Hope everyone got a chance to paint, 'cause that was
Awesome. Is there anything else from my colleagues? No,
Motion
seeing-
to approve.
We have a motion from Board Member McCray. Do we have a second?
second.
Second. We have a board member from, we
Board member
we have a motion from Board Member McCray, a second from Board Member Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those approved say nay. The ayes have it unanimously. Is there anything else from my colleagues? Yes, Catherine.
If it pleases the board, you currently have a workshop scheduled for next weekend. I'm not sure if the board would like to continue that in the transition to Mr. Duggar as the executive director, or whether you'd like to cancel and reschedule it. So I'm just bringing that to your attention in case it's an
Yes.
item
I
you'd
think
like
we
to
should
discuss.
cancel it.
One second. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think we should cancel it and reschedule it and regroup.
The chair also mentioned she wanted to reschedule as well before she left. She wanted me to bring it up.
Okay. And
And I would like for you all to reschedule, because that is going to be a service here in Boynton of Mrs. Fanny Banks. And
Yes.
I'm just saying, and we don't want it to interfere. I'm just saying, if I'm not working, I'll be with the bank service.
Okay. Yeah, all right, so we will reschedule this, and I think maybe we can discuss it at the next joint meeting, after the interim, has a week or so to review, and then we can decide when all of us are here if we want to push that workshop to a different date. Decide what that date's going to be. Yes, Board Member Kelly.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I just wanna kind of regroup and relook at it, and so I don't want it to get lost, is what I'm saying. Is
Yes.
I want it to stay on our radar, I want it to happen, because it's important, but I think we do need to regroup a little bit.
Can we maybe add that as an item for quick discussion at the special joint meeting next week? Is that okay? Yeah, okay, perfect. If I see nothing else?
Yeah, Chair, before we go, I
Yes.
have one comment for beneficial to the CRA. I want to just say, whoever did the book, kudos, thank you. I'm one of those that like to say, about advertising,
Great.
the pictures are excellent, it's worthwhile. I'm just saying, if I was not living in Boynton, would pick this up, it will make me want to come at least see what Boynton is all about.
Right.
Job well done, thank you.
Great job.
All right, do we have anything else? Do I?
Motion to adjourn.
Just,
I have a-
just
yes.
real quick.
All right, yes, Tim.
Special joint meeting, date, time, just want to make sure we're
Yeah, for
abundantly clear.
clarification, we decided April 21st, which is next Tuesday, starting at 6 PM before the regular city commission meeting.
Okay, just want to make sure for purposes of advertising the
Yes.
meeting.
Super
Thank you.
quick.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, all those opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
Good night, everyone.